Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into a scientific paper that could totally flip the script on how we think about getting stronger. Let's jump right in.
For over 100 years, the rules of strength training have seemed pretty simple, right? Lift heavier weights, you get stronger. But what if that's just half the picture? What if the real key to unlocking your true strength potential has been sitting there overlooked by almost everyone this whole time?
So, in this explainer, we're going to tear down some old ideas and build up a new one. We'll talk about the real goal of strength, we'll cut through all that confusing gym jargon, and we'll show you why your current methods might be like training with a blindfold on. Then, we'll introduce a new, much better compass for training, velocity, and wrap up with why this all really matters for your own progress. Okay, first things first, we have to redefine our goal. The researchers behind this paper argued that we've been chasing the wrong metric. It turns out strength isn't just about how much weight you can lift. It's really about how fast you can lift it.
And this right here is the big idea. The main goal of your training isn't just to add more plates to the bar for a 1-rep max. No, it's to be able to move any weight, whether it's light, medium, or heavy, faster than you could before. Think about it. In almost any sport, from sprinting off the blocks to jumping for a rebound, it's that speed, that explosiveness, that actually translates to better performance.
And this isn't just some new age fitness theory. It's literally basic physics. Remember Newton's second law? If the weight on the bar, the mass, isn't changing, the only way to make it move faster, to increase its velocity, is to apply more force. So becoming faster is becoming stronger. They're two sides of the exact same coin.
This chart here shows it perfectly. What you're looking at is someone's power output with the exact same 20-kilogram weight. The first bar is before an 8-week training program, and the second bar is after. Look at that jump. They didn't add any more weight to the bar, but after training, they could move that same weight with way more power and speed. They got stronger because they got faster.
So if we accept this new perspective, it doesn't just change our goals. It totally messes with the language we use at the gym. What does it even mean to have a power day versus a strength day if the goal is always to apply more force? We throw around all these different terms: power training, explosive strength, muscular endurance, as if they're all separate, distinct things. But here's the paper's big argument. From a purely mechanical point of view, these labels are pretty much meaningless. To get better at any of them, the underlying mission is exactly the same. You have to improve your ability to apply maximal force. And listen to how bluntly the authors put it. They say that, really, the only type of training that exists is maximal strength training. Every time you're in the gym trying to get better, you're trying to improve your ability to generate force. The different names we use are just describing the result we're hoping for, not a different kind of training itself. Okay, so if applying more force is always the goal, how have we been measuring it all this time? Well, this gets us to the core problem with traditional training. The tools we've been using are, frankly, terrible. It's almost like we've been training completely blind. For decades, the 1-rep max, the 1RM, has been our gold standard. But it's built on shaky ground. Your real 1RM can change from one day to the next based on your sleep, your stress, your food. Actually testing it is super fatiguing, not to mention a little dangerous. And worst of all, it only tells you one thing: your absolute peak strength, while telling you absolutely nothing about how strong you are with all the other weights you actually use day in and day out. Well, what about just telling someone to do 8 reps until they can't do any more, an 8-rep max? The paper shows that's also a broken system. My 8-rep max might be at 80% of my true 1-rep max, but for you, it might only be 70%. We're doing the same number of reps, but we are experiencing a totally different workout intensity. It's like using a compass that points north for me, but northwest for you. It's just not reliable. And this leads to a pretty mind-blowing realization. If your 1-rep max is the only thing you're tracking, you could be getting a lot stronger and have no idea it's even happening. This chart tells the whole story. So look at this. After a whole training program, this athlete's 1-rep max didn't go up at all. Zero change. By the old way of thinking, that's a total failure. But now look at the second bar. That's the change in their bar speed with a weight that's 60% of their max.
Their speed, their power, absolutely skyrocketed. They got way more explosive in a way that actually matters for sports, even while their heaviest lifts stayed the same. So if our old tools are broken, what's the answer? Well, the paper proposes a new compass for our training, one that's objective, that's precise, and that gives us feedback in real time. And that compass is movement velocity. It's called velocity-based training, or VBT, and it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. You use a little piece of technology to measure how fast the bar is moving on every single rep you do. And that one number, the velocity, unlocks a treasure trove of objective data about how hard you're actually working and how tired you're getting. The whole magic of VBT comes down to this incredibly stable relationship. For any given exercise, like the bench press here, a specific percentage of your max corresponds to a specific speed. So 50% of your max will always move at about 1 meter per second. A true grinding max effort, that's going to crawl at around 0.17 meters per second. And the amazing part is, this is true for pretty much everyone. And the researchers really drive this home. This load-velocity relationship is incredibly stable and reliable. It doesn't matter if you're a total beginner or an elite athlete. It doesn't even matter if you got stronger or weaker since last week. A certain percentage of your max on any given day will correspond to a specific velocity every single time. So what does this actually look like in a workout? It's really simple. 1, you do your first rep, and you try to move that bar as fast as humanly possible. 2, a VBT device instantly measures that speed. 3, that speed tells you exactly what percentage of your 1RM that weight is for you, right now, today. And 4, instead of just grinding until you fail, you can stop the set when your bar speed drops by a specific amount, say 20%, which lets you control fatigue with surgical precision. And get this, the results are incredible. The research shows that stopping a set when your velocity drops by just 20% can actually give you better strength and power gains than if you had pushed all the way to total failure. You get better results for less fatigue. It's the definition of training smarter, not just harder. So let's tie this all together. Why is this shift from counting reps to measuring speed such a game changer? Well, it's because it takes our training out of the world of guesswork and how it feels and puts it firmly into the world of objective science. This might be the single most important takeaway from the entire paper. All those fancy program names, block periodization, concurrent training, the hypertrophy phase, they don't matter nearly as much as the actual numbers that define the work. The load on the bar, the velocity it moves at, and the fatigue it produces. At the end of the day, training is defined by numbers, not by names. Adopting this approach gives you, the athlete, so much power. You can finally know the true intensity of every single lift, every single day. You can track your real progress, just like in that chart we saw, without having to constantly test your max. You can manage your fatigue precisely so you don't overtrain. And you can finally make sure that the strength you're building in the weight room actually makes you a better athlete on the field. You're not guessing anymore, you're making decisions with data. This whole paradigm shift gives us a new level of precision, a new level of insight into what actually makes us stronger. It's challenging us to move past old traditions and really embrace a scientific approach. So the only question left is, are you ready to stop guessing and start measuring?